There are 7 signs that somebody is secretly wealthy. And I don't mean rich. Rich is salary, rich is car loan, rich is looking good on Instagram. I mean wealthy. The kind of people who could stop working tomorrow and nothing in their life would change. Here's the strange part. These people almost never look wealthy. They don't flex, they don't talk about money. Some of them even drive 10 years old car and wear the same watch for decades. But they do things differently. Tiny things, invisible things, habits that quietly separate them from people who earn just as much but are secretly broke. After nearly 20 years helping folks, being a chartered accountant and serving at EY, PwC and one of India's top wealth management firm, I've seen these patterns up close. And once you learn to spot them, you'll start noticing them everywhere. Your colleague, your neighbor, maybe someone in your own family. Let's go through all the 7 signs. Sign 1, they never talk about money. Not how much they earn, not how much expensive their watch was, not even how well their portfolio is doing. In fact, they actively avoid what I call the 3 E's: earnings, expensive talk, and excess. Secretly wealthy people don't reveal how much they make because the moment income becomes public, comparisons begin. Expectations quietly attach themselves. They actually don't talk how expensive something was because price tags are social signals, not useful information. And they avoid excess, not because they can't afford it, but because excess attracts attention, pressure, and noise. Now compare this with what most people do. The moment they get a raise, new car, new phone, new story to tell at every dinner. But people who already have money, they've crossed that psychological finish line. They don't need the validation. And honestly, there's a very practical reason for this, especially in India. The moment people know you earn well, expectations multiply. You are expected to pay more, help more, spend more, sometimes even justify why you're not spending enough. Here's a quick example. Your salary is say 1.5 lakh a month. Your friends know this. Every time you hang out, there's an unspoken pressure. You should pick up the tab. A 4 to 5,000 bill doesn't seem like much, but do that 3 to 4 times a month. That's 20 to 30,000 gone. Nearly 20% of your salary gone. Enough to wreck your investment plan, your rent, your entire monthly budget. This is why wealthy people choose silence, not secrecy, peace, because peace is expensive and silence protects it. Here's a simple rule. If someone constantly talks about money, they're usually chasing it. And someone who never talks about money, they might have already have it. Now let's talk about their car, not brand, not the badge, the decision behind it. Sign 2, they drive boring cars on purpose. You would think someone with money would upgrade, get something sleek, something premium, but secretly wealthy people understand something most people don't: depreciation. The moment a new car leaves the showroom, it loses value. First year 20 to 30% gone, over 5 years up to 50%. That's not an expense, that's a guaranteed loss. So they ask themselves a question most people never do. Is this car solving a real problem or an emotional one? If a reliable, slightly boring car gets them from A to B safely and comfortably, the extra 10 to 15 lakhs goes elsewhere. Investments, businesses, or something as underrated as mental peace. See, the quietly wealthy are not cheap. They're just allergic to negative returns. And this isn't just theory. I actually worked with a client who drove an old 2012 Swift, wore simple clothes, never once mentioned about money. When I finally reviewed about his portfolio, he had more than 50 crores. His neighbors had no clue. His own brother-in-law thought he was struggling. That's when I realized the wealthiest people are often the least visible. Here's something that separates the wealthy from everyone else. Sign number 3, they buy time, not things. Ever wondered why some people always seem calm, unhurried, while others are constantly overwhelmed no matter how much they earn? It's because secretly wealthy people outsource anything that drains their energy. They pay for convenience, they avoid low value work. This isn't laziness, it's math. Think about it. A working professional spends 4 to 5 hours every weekend cleaning, laundry, groceries, running errands. Feels productive, right? But what if those hours could be freed by spending a few thousands on help or delivery? That time could go towards rest, learning new skill, or building something that actually increases income. Over a year, those hours compound. Wealthy people see this clearly. They are not just paying for convenience, they are actually buying back time they never get again. Their question isn't, how much does this cost? It's, how much time does this save me? They protect their mornings, stick to routines, avoid unnecessary meetings because here's the truth, money can be earned again, time can't. If this is resonating so far, you'll probably like the kind of content I make here. Feel free to like the video and subscribe. And let's keep going. Sign 4, their money runs on autopilot. Secretly wealthy people don't rely on motivation to manage money. They don't depend on remembering due dates. They don't wake up every month and decide where to invest. They have already decided. Their SIPs run automatically, insurance premiums are scheduled, credit cards are paid in full, no reminders. Emergency funds are parked and untouched. There's no drama in their financial life, and that's the point. Here's what data shows. Most investors don't fail because they pick bad investments. They fail because of their inconsistent behavior, missed months, emotional decision, panic reactions. Research actually suggests that simply automating your investments can improve long-term wealth accumulation by over 30%, not because of better returns, but because of better behavior. Automation removes emotions from the system. When your finances run on autopilot, your brain is free to focus on what actually matters. That mental clarity itself is a form of wealth. Now here's one that often gets misread. Sign 5, tight on small expenses, relaxed on big meaningful ones. Secretly wealthy people will question 199 subscription they barely use. They'll pause before impulse purchases. They'll even review recurring cost every few months, not because they are afraid to spend, but because they understand that small leaks left unattended can sink even a strong financial ship. At the same time, when it comes to health, education, productivity tools, long-term quality of life, they don't hesitate. A good doctor, a reliable laptop, a comfortable chair, a course that upgrades their skills, these aren't indulgences, they are investments in protecting or increasing future earning ability. The difference is leakages versus leverages. Small expenses feel harmless in isolation, 500 here, 1000 there, no alarm bells, but when those costs repeat every single month, year after year, they compound in wrong directions. Over 10 to 15 years, that's lakhs quietly leaking out. Secretly wealthy people see this clearly. They are not cutting joy, they are eliminating waste, so their money won't disappear without creating value. Sign 6, they think in total cost, not sticker price. Most people see a price tag, check if the EMI fits, done. Wealthy people do the opposite. They want to buy a car, they zoom out. Maintenance costs, interest paid over time, repairs, upgrades, and most importantly, opportunity cost. What could this money have become if they had invested it elsewhere? Let's say someone buys a car for 15 lakhs on EMI. The sticker price is 15 lakhs, but the total cost is, with interest, insurance, fuel, maintenance over 7 years, could easily cross 25 to 30 lakhs. Now imagine the same 15 lakhs invested at 12% annually. In 15 years, that's over 80 lakhs. The point here is not about never buy the car, it's to make sure the decision is conscious, not automatic. When you understand the future trade-off, you can still enjoy your purchases, but from awareness, not impulses. This applies to homes, gadgets, lifestyle upgrades, and even seemingly harmless EMIs. Sticker price triggers emotion, total cost demands logic. Once you train yourself to think that way, impulsive spending becomes much harder to justify. And now the final sign, this has nothing to do with money on paper. Sign number 7, they control their calendar. They know how to say no. They don't overbook. They're not constantly reacting to other people's priorities. They choose when to work, when to rest, and where their attention goes. In productivity research, calendar control correlates strongly with seniority, business ownership, and financial independence. Why? Because it reflects who sets priorities and who merely reacts to them. When money is tight, people are forced to sell their time. When money is abundant, time becomes something they actively protect. So next time when you see someone who can actually step away on a weekday, who isn't rushing from one obligation to another, who chooses commitments carefully, it often signals deep financial stability, not just wealth, control. So here's the uncomfortable truth. The guy in the 10-year-old car, he might be the wealthiest person in the room. The colleague who never talks about money, she's probably building something you can't see. And now you'll start noticing them everywhere. The people who look rich are often under pressure. The people who are wealthy feel in control. Most people spend their entire lives trying to look rich instead of building habits that actually make them wealthy. So pause for a second. Which of these 7 signs do you already follow? Which ones are you missing not because of money but because of awareness? Drop a comment with the one that hit you the hardest. And if you want more content that explains money without noise, the hype, or fake motivation, make sure you're subscribed. Because real wealth doesn't scream, it whispers. That's it from me. I'm Nikhil. Subscribe to Finicky, and I'll see you in the next one.